Lesson 1 People. Listening 1 Birth Order and Personality. At the end of the lesson, students will be able to apply vocabulary knowledge relating to describing people and strategies for listening for reasons to understand the main points and detailed information of describing people related to recordings. Before you listen, discuss the following questions with your partner. Do you have brothers or sisters? If so, how many? What is their birth order? How similar is their character to yours? Here are some tips when you listen for main idea. The main idea is the most important idea in a listening passage. A short passage might have one main idea. Longer passages can have more than one main idea. To identify main ideas, ask yourself, what are the most important ideas in the passage? And what does the speaker want me to remember? Words and phrases that often signal a main idea include phrases like to begin, let's start, next, and finally. Answers to an interviewer's questions, ideas or words that repeat often in the passage. What do you think about each sentence? 1. Birth order has very little influence on people's personality. 2. Firstborn children are natural followers. 3. Middle children are often peacemakers. 4. Youngest children are often serious. 5. Older children are uncomfortable around adults. 6. Gender might influence personality more than birth order. Listen and correct any wrong sentences.
Track 2. Unit 1. Listening 1. Birth order and personality.
Good afternoon, listeners, and welcome to Family Forum. I'm your host, Marissa Wallach. It's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Frances Sperling. Dr. Sperling is a psychologist at Central University, and she's writing a book on the subject of birth order and personality. Dr. Sperling, welcome.
Thank you.
To begin, what is birth order?
Birth order means your place or your position in the family compared to your brothers and sisters. If you are the oldest child, the youngest child, or somewhere in the middle. Or perhaps you are an only child with no brothers or sisters.
I see. Why is birth order important?
Well, research shows that our position in our family often has a big influence on our personality. There are certain characteristics that are common for firstborn children, middle children, etc.
Oh, can you give us some examples?
Of course. Let's start with the firstborn child, the oldest. Firstborns are usually serious, responsible, and organized. They're natural leaders.
Why is that?
Maybe because in many families, the oldest child helps to take care of the younger ones. Also, in many cultures, everyone expects the first child to become the head of the family someday.
That's interesting. I'm the oldest child in my family, and you just described me perfectly. Let's talk next about middle children. Tell us about them.
Well, very often the middle child is the family peacemaker. I mean, if there's a problem in the family, they try to fix it. Also, middle children are very social. Their friends are very important to them, maybe because middle children don't always feel very special in their families.
And what about last-born children, Dr. Sperling?
Last-born children are very sweet and loving. They enjoy touching and hugging. They can also be very funny, since, as the last child, they have to work hard to get attention, especially in a big family.
There's one type of child we haven't mentioned, Dr. Sperling, and that's the only child.
Oh, yes. Well, only children are very comfortable around adults, and they're very verbal. You know, they talk a lot, and they know a lot of words. That's because their parents are always talking to them.
I see. Well, Dr. Sperling, I have one more question. These personality characteristics, how common are they? I mean, for example, are
So sentence 1, 2, 4, and 5 need to be corrected. For sentence number 1, birth order has a big influence on people's personality. And number 2, firstborn children are natural leaders, not followers. Number 4, youngest children are often funny, not serious. And older children are comfortable around adults, not uncomfortable. Here are some tips when you listen for reasons. Many sentences have two parts, a reason and a result. A reason or cause explains why something happened or why somebody does something. Listen for these signals to help you identify the reasons for something. Because, since, that's because. So you're going to listen to the recording again, and you need to match the result with the reasons. Here are the results. Oldest children are responsible. Middle children spend a lot of time with their friends. Youngest children are funny. And older children are verbal. And here are the reasons. It is hard for them to get attention. They take care of younger sisters and brothers. They do not feel special in the families. And the parents are always talking to them. So here are the answers. Oldest children are responsible because they take care of younger sisters and brothers. Middle children spend a lot of time with friends because they do not feel special in the families. Youngest children are funny because it is hard for them to get attention. Older children are verbal because their parents are always talking to them. In the following slides, we're going to look closely into the text script and find out how they provide the reasons in the conversation. Developing critical thinking. Here are some questions for you to discuss further with your partner. Think of your own family and a family you know well. Is the information about first, middle, last, and older children correct or incorrect? Explain your answer. Do you think it is best to live in a family with one child? 2 children, 3 children, or more than 3 children? Why? Would you like to read Dr. Spelling's book on birth order? Why or why not? Thank you for listening.